Good morning, my friend, or good
Good
afternoon,
morning.
usually. How are you?
A little bit nervous, a little bit edgy, but more of that in a bit.
So let's start with yesterday. How was your Father's Day? I saw you had a lot of adventures.
Yeah, I'm lucky. Well, I'm a very proud dad. I've got three wonderful kids. Two of them are working, and the other one's at home with us. So we went, and I love my dogs. I'm a very basic kind of guy, so I took my dogs out with my youngest daughter because she's got work on Father's Day. So we went the day before, and then on the Sunday, I indulged one of my passions, which is playing mini golf, crazy golf. And bless my daughter, she filmed me because she was expecting a meltdown because I don't have patience, and there's a particular couple of holes on this course that we play that I am spectacularly poor at. So she put the film, and unusually she got it wrong because I played it really, really well. So there was no spectacular meltdowns or anything like that. So she sort of walked off and went, "Oh, well, it's something for you to keep."
I saw the footage that you put on your personal social media, and it was awesome. The dogs looked great. The kids looked very happy. You looked thrilled. You looked chuffed to pieces. So I'm so glad you had a great Father's Day. You know, it's I just saw somebody was talking about so one of my family members was talking about how in America it is the 17th least popular holiday. And my brother said, I can't even name 16 holidays. Like Christmas, of course, was at the top. Mother's Day was up at the top. So it's an uncelebrated holiday, I think. You know, we did it up. We went out to my folks, which shame on me. It's the first time I saw them since they came up from their place in Florida. But we went up to my folks, and my brother was up from Florida, my sister was up from Florida, my other sister was there. So we actually took a family picture. We were only missing two kids. We were missing my or I'm sorry, three kids. We were missing my oldest nephew, my youngest nephew, and my son. They were all out and about doing their thing. So but it was great. We actually got like a family picture. So that was one of the things we've been intending to do for some time. So it was a lovely day. It was a long day. And then we came back here and we barbecued at my house, and my brother-in-law came over. So it was a big day. It was a big day, but hence why I had to start a little bit late. But we got 12 people watching. Good morning,
Good
everybody.
morning.
So we had a curriculum, a scheduled show for you planned. However, Rick, where are you going to be next week?
Stonehenge.
But that's starting tomorrow, right?
Yes, I should be leaving sort of later on, late afternoon, early evening, because it's a over 200-mile drive down there. And then there'll be an early morning setup. So I thought I don't want to be leaving our house at sort of early hours of the morning to get there, set up, and then do reading. So my thought process was I'll get down there tonight, get my head down, and then be ready, sort of on site, ready to go. And so I'm the only reader on camp. It's an event called Solstice Fest. I ended up there last year by default because somebody dropped out at the last minute. I was contacted and I said, yeah, I'll give it a go. And I went down there with no expectations whatsoever and was absolutely blown away, not only by the people that I read for, but the quality of the healing work. And also, I was told before I went down there, what's actually going to happen with you? You're going to learn some valuable lessons about your spiritual life. Well, I'm going to be honest here, and this is what I try and keep myself in that honest vein. I didn't get it while I was down there. I'll be truthful. I didn't understand it. I didn't get what everybody was talking about, the magic. Like with me, with most things, I learn in retrospect. So when I got home on the Monday morning, I'd driven home late hours, and I was a bit grumpy because all these people, all of these gurus and people that know energy better than me were saying, by the time you go home, there'll be this light bulb moment. And I went, I don't get it. Right. So I drove home grumpy because I thought, have I missed something? Is it just me not taking up on things? Anyway, I get in the shower on the Monday morning because I'd got readings booked because I'd not thought about that far ahead. I got readings booked and I got in the shower and I heard this voice go off in my head and it was, do you get it? And I'm like, no, I really don't. Right. Tip your head forward. So I was quite tired because it had been, say, near 4 hour drive. And I tipped my head forward and they said, put your head under the water. And I put my head under the water of the shower and let it run on the back of my head. Just let it all run. And I thought maybe it's a cleansing exercise. What shocked me, and to this day I can't put adequate words to it, was like a rainbow of colours coming off me.
Oh.
Right? It was like, the only way I can describe it, it's like being given this gift. And then you kind of like rinse it off. So I'm imagining if you ever got a brand new car, that if it's come off the lot, there's a bit of dust on it, you'll want to keep it clean. Well, that was just what it felt like in the shower. And this, like, I don't know whether it's the awakening that a lot of people talk about, but it was just an incredible experience. And then it was like seeing lots and lots of little cameo appearances. And I'm going, right, yeah. Penny drops a little bit. And then I did an event the following weekend, and I'm not kidding you, I didn't come down. I had to go and sit out at some points because the energy that I was working with within the room, and I'm not being disrespectful to anybody here, the energy that had been opened up to me was huge, and I couldn't sit still. So I don't know how many people I missed because I was sat outside at one point with my feet up, having a cup of tea, just watching the world go by, and then coming, I'm at an event. I should get back in there. But it's just an incredible, energetic place for an ordinary guy like me to experience that. It blew my mind, to be fair.
So, there's something very envious of me right now. Because now I've been to Sedona, Arizona, and it has a very intense power when you go there. It is one of the energy vortexes on the planet. And, Stonehenge always presented to me like how I imagine it. And I've been to England, and that was one of the things I did want to go see when I was there. I did not get a chance to go see it. It feels to me, as someone remote and distant from it, like a very low but loud hum. It's like a very low, loud resonance, like a pachyderm, like a big thing that's kind of vibrating. And I think when you have those kinds of experiences energetically, it sometimes takes a while to kind of get to your guts, if you know what I mean. So I think it's amazing that it took you a little while to kind of get on the ride. And I'm very curious what's going to happen. And I may even remote view while you're there. I may even go there just to see what's going on. Check in on Rick, make sure Rick's okay. But so for everybody that's watching, Rick is experiencing what would you call it, Rick? Is it a trepidation, anxiety? Like, what are you kind of experiencing in the run up to this?
Around the sacral chakra, so around the navel area, in the guts with the intuition, it is sat there. It's not negative. I suffer from anxiety anyway. But when I'm doing this, I always say to people, well, the reason that I can do and perform and stand up in front of people is because I'm working with another energy, another entity. You're an amazing foil, so it's not all on me. So I managed to scrape through that way. But when you're doing this work, I mean, I will go down there and, fingers crossed that I'll be busy, because I expect that, because at the end of the day, I'm a trader when I go down there this time. But my guides are insisting that I need to immerse myself more in that energy. So it's almost like all of the cupboards are being opened to have a look to see what's in there and whether it's needed. I mean, most spiritual people that I've spoken to talk about it as an upgrade. I mean, when I go to do my work, I'll be absolutely fine. It's the bit that I don't know that I'm uncomfortable with. So we talk about vibing with a tribe here. My vibration at the moment is high, but I'm very nervous because I get the sense that something huge is just within reach. And when you're a person of routine, then when you're upskittled, as I would call it over here, and you're thrown out a little bit, it's the unknown. Now, I'll embrace it. But like I've said to many people, and I've asked many intelligent people with this, so if any of you on the comments can answer this, right? So when we go through certain things, there's sometimes an awareness that something needs to be brought to an end, right? Circumstances will change, a relationship, maybe a job or something like that. That we've had this feeling around us that there's an ending that's needed. But like little bits need to drop into place. So I always think about it like right and divine timing. When the timing's right, it will happen. Through your life's experiences, you will find things that you know how to cope. So with having quite an eclectic mind, I have some strange coping techniques, but I know when I put them in that they will work because they're tried and tested. You know, I fly by the seat of my pants quite a lot of the times, and I wing it. And then there's the moment where you step into the new, where you put your life's experiences in, you put your enthusiasm into a new project. You take that first step. But in the middle, right, and this is the bit that I've never fully answered, there's an energetic spot that what I know it as is the vortex. People will know it as a gap, I don't know, an awakening or something like that. I've asked people, how do you function in what I call the vortex? So coming out of that place where you're realizing something's ending and you're not automatically ready for that new start, you're kind of in between, and it's like being rattled. And that's how I've been feeling for a number of weeks now, that I'm being prepared for something that in this life, as I understand it, I have got no experience of or no knowledge, yet my guides are just going, bear with me, because this is not this world. So you can imagine if you start coming out with statements like that around everyday folk, they're going to look at you like you do, Lally. You know, they're going to fit you up for a tracksuit that does up the back way. But what I'm saying to you is, I do have anxiety. I do have a background of depression and all of the rest of it, but I don't have a background of insanity. So as far as I'm concerned, these experiences that I'm having at the moment is very, very real, but it's also very, very uncomfortable because I don't know what the hell to do with it. I can't structure it. I can't plan it. All I can do is just, I was looking for a description because I had a feeling that you and I would open this up a little bit. What it feels like, and the only way, because I'm very descriptive, I like storytelling, is it's like I can imagine what it would feel like to walk through sludge. It's not negative, but it's very slow and plodding and methodical, and you've got to stay with it, because if you try and run, you'll get stuck and you'll fall out your boots. If you try and fight against it, it'll just overwhelm you. So it's having to go with it, but it's bloody uncomfortable.
Yeah. So you said the energy, did you say it was chaotic, or because it feels like structured chaos to me, which I will describe as a tornado. So, you said the vortex. So that is organized chaos. So it's spinning, which is organized because it's got the centrifugal force. It's moving, but you don't know where it's going to go. So I think that organized chaos is it's very disorienting, because you know where you're going to wind up in the cone. You don't know where you're going to wind up on the ground. So it's that energy movement that you feel, but you don't know where it's taking you, which I tell my kids all the time, don't confuse, because my family has a lot of anxiety. I mean, my biological family on my side, we have a lot of anxiety, and both of my kids have it. And I tell them all the time, don't confuse excitement with anxiety. Trevor said his energy is like a tsunami. Trevor, I do that too. I'm taking you with me. If I'm having a bad day, I'm taking you with me. If I'm having a good day, I'm taking you with me. But my kids, when they would get excited about something, when there'd be an event, something like that, they would think they were having anxiety. And I would tell them, no, it's not anxiety. You're just excited. Transform that energy. And I don't think that's what's going on with you. I don't think that what you're experiencing is that level. I'm so professional, dropping cards all over the place. I don't think what you're experiencing is that excitement versus anxiety. When swimmers are on the starting block, I was a competitive swimmer when I was a kid. And when you're on the starting block, it's a very interesting thing. You guys watch it on the Olympics or on, swimming shows if you're so inclined. When you grab onto that starting block, you have no idea how hard you're holding on to that. So when they say on your mark and you see those swimmers go down and they grab the block, they are a coiled spring on there, like right down to your fingertips. Like you are hanging on to that sucker. And then that's where you get all of that support energy. And then when the whistle blows, you kick off. So many people think that's just a moment where you just touch the thing. It's not. You really grab onto it and you're really holding on as hard as you can. Like when your hands go down on it, you hurt your hands. And some swimmers may disagree with me on that, but that is my experience. That was the experience of everyone that I trained with. So what I think you're experiencing is that coil. You are, again, like really tensed up. So we're getting more people in the chat. Rick is going to good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Rick is going to Stonehenge to do an event for a number of days. And we're going to divert from our regularly scheduled program. And we're actually going to do a little read on him and figure out what direction his energy is going to go on this. So, we talked briefly about doing a little bit of a read for him yesterday. And so we're going to do it live for you guys. And we're going to work through it. Grumpy wants to know if you're in shorts. Are you in shorts?
Not yet, but when I leave, I will be. Just to pick up on what you just said there very, very briefly, I think everybody has a way of relating certain things to what they know. So what you've just described there for me is, thankfully, in my 12-year career in the prison service, I was lucky not to have that many what we would call cold situations where it's planned and you go in there. But the feeling of having a shield in your hand and being introduced to the scenario when you've got to go in there and get a job done, then that's what I can liken it to. Because, and then I want to say this to people, even though I'm experiencing these feelings and telling you this, I also know very, very strongly that I will be okay, because I've got 50 odd years of backing that up. So what Annabelle is saying there is that anxiety can present in different ways, but there is a massive, massive difference from somebody who knows anxiety and depression intimately between that and the feeling of adrenaline, right? So my anxiety comes in because I'm leaving my wife at home and I don't like being separated for very long. My adrenaline is coming in because my guides, my spiritual team, and my faith is kicking in, that are going to put me into a position of new power, right? And I am an ordinary guy. I do not sell myself as ego or anything like that. And I'll be honest with you guys watching, I'm scared because because when you don't know something, you don't know whether you're going to hit the mark. So when I go into that scenario where I'm going into a hostile situation, I know that 9 times out of 10, that as soon as that door opens, game time, because that is what I was trained to do. Now this came at me out of the blue completely. It's not anything I know. It's not I don't understand. I learn on the go. So I'm in a position now where my inner being is excited, but also it opens all of these I don't know, insecure doors, if you like, because you don't know what's behind them. You can't plan for something that you don't know. And it's being in that space of just going, ultimately, I've faced worse. So whatever happens, I'm going to be okay. But it's just that moment before, like Annabelle was describing there, before you launch off into that whatever you're going to do, you know you're going to be okay. But at the moment, there's no evidence to prove that, and that's a little bit unnerving. But nerves before big events, sporting events, anything that requires your adrenaline and your commitment is a good thing, because if you're not, then you become a robot. You become you're not a feeling person, and I'm not talking about going out there. So for people like Trevor, I'm not talking about going onto the battlefield. I'm talking about going into spiritual events and things there where you're doing performance and stuff like that with your media and things like that. Nerves before that is good, because if it's not, then you're not really doing it for the right reasons, in my humble opinion, because your professionalism and what you know always takes over when you go in there. Once you stop feeling, that's for me is the time that I'll pack up. Anyway, sorry, I just went off on my.
No, it's okay. Now, I hope I didn't like insult you or make an assumption. The interesting thing is, while you were talking, I was getting messages that your job description is about to change.
You don't know how accurate that is, and I'll tell you about very briefly afterwards.
Yeah,
or when we speak later, I'll tell you later on what's happened with one thing. And
okay.
The good thing for the viewers that I will share with, we did an episode 2 weeks ago about manifestation and bringing things into being. I did some work with somebody, and then they presented me with a very interesting option afterwards, and it was one of those that I'm going to get paid to do something that I love. And I was just absolutely blown away. But nervous me was going, oh, can I structure it so that they can get value for money? And they basically told me what they valued it at. And that had been manifested from the morning when we did the work there. I had a client in the afternoon, and it's all gone on from there. So with that one, I'm thoroughly excited. So this is why I put the name change sort of on the banner as well, because there's just certain things, and we've had discussions off camera, haven't we, that there's certain things around me at the minute that I'll still commit to, but they're not my life's direction. They're kind of like part of the everyday, but the ongoing trajectory is about to change. And because I'm doubting whether I'm up to it, it is unnerving. And that is the dead honest truth.
So let's do a little bit of this. These are energy and spirit oracle cards, and we're not going to lean on them entirely, but I do want to pull some of them up. Everybody likes a visual anyway, so let's get a visual in here, and we'll just put that up. And again, thank you everybody for coming in here. I do see some people are asking for readings today. We should have called this Rick send off to Stonehenge. Rick is heading out to Stonehenge for a spiritual event, and we're going to send him off with some high vibes. So everybody throw some fun stuff in the comments for him. Let's do some stars or some crystal balls or flowers or whatever. Throw some stuff at Rick. Give him some fuel for this trip. But I want to tap into some of the guides that maybe you're not hearing. Sometimes when, and I hate to liken it to a work environment, but sometimes when we are in a work environment, we don't hear that one person down the hall who's maybe a little bit quiet, who doesn't quite resonate with us, but we get into like a board meeting and somebody says, oh, well, Bob down the hall had this really great idea. Sometimes you need somebody else to let you know what it is. So let's check it out and see what we have here. So these energy and spirit oracle cards are pretty good. They give us, they're from Hay House. Everybody loves Hay House. From their subscription card thing. It comes quarterly. I don't get a perk off that. I'm just telling you where they came from. Oh, freedom. Wisdom of the Magi. Kinship. So the freedom bit, we're moving on and letting go. Now, during the course of our lifetimes, we are represented by a number of different versions of ourselves. If you're techie, you can say 2.0, 2.1, 3.0, whatever. Um, some people, they seem to have more clearly defined changes of personality. So maybe they're in a relationship, or they live in a certain place, and they kind of absorb that personality, that milieu of character, that sense of being. So I know that when I lived near the shore, my entire wardrobe was different. um I have a lot of things still left over from when I lived at the shore, and they're just not appropriate. Now I live 15 minutes from the bay. I can get to the ocean very quickly. But I live far enough that the vibe is different. It's not seashore. It doesn't feel like that. I don't feel like I can have 3 surfboards sitting outside of my house and it makes sense. It just doesn't make sense. I can't have a seashell covered bathroom. Um, you know, there are people that will have those obvious changes of character, obvious changes of milieu, of self, of spirit. But this is something a bit more subtle for you, Rick. You're still going to be Rick. You're still going to be Rick, the psychic medium, but you are going to have it's a profound shift on the inside. You're not going to change on the outside. It's not going to be very obvious to people that aren't, intimately involved with you. There's this profound shift is you are going to become more of a boss, more of a master. This is going to, and what I see is your crown chakra is wide open, and I think that may be why you're kind of overwhelmed by this energy. But your crown chakra is open because everything in your spirit is saying, let it in, let it in, let it in. I can even feel being infused with all of this. And people that practice conventional religions, the big three, the big four, they have these moments of serendipity, these moments of enlightenment where they feel the power of their God coming in. They feel it. This is about to happen to you. Does it feel weird? I mean, I don't want to say it's uncomfortable, because it's not uncomfortable, but does it feel weird and disorienting? 100%. The reason you're starting to feel it now is because they're trying to prepare you for this. I don't want to say deluge, because I don't want to freak you out, but you are going to have this pretty significant download. The best thing that I can tell you as a human being, and as a psychic medium, is that you're going to have to breathe through this. And one of the things that you should breathe into is that pineal gland. You've got to breathe into that, because all of this information, all of this energy that's coming into you, you need to kind of store it someplace. You need a battery pack. So the pineal gland is going to be where all this goes. So and I tell my students all the time, to do I'm sorry, I'm taking this on and off, but I can't decide if I'm hot or cold down here. I was cold when I was upstairs because the air conditioning is cranking, and now I'm down here and it's cozier. Um, I tell my students to activate that pineal gland. Dr. Joe Dispenza has a really good meditation to get that thing fired up, decalcified, and get your psychic stuff going. You're going to be able to take all this energy. And I think part of that is the logistical issue that you have with it. I think the logistical issue is like you feel like you're going to be get, I hate to say dumped on, but you're going to get like this whole energy load, this whole energy, infusion, and you're not going to know what to do with it. If you store it in that pineal gland, and the pineal gland, just for the people in the chats, it's behind the back of your throat and the back of your head. It's that little space in there, and it actually looks kind of like the Eye of Horus. There are some people that think the Eye of Horus has something to do with it, that it's a cutout of it. But what we can do is we can either breathe energy up our spine. What's going to happen to you, Rick, as it comes down, you're going to feel this download. As it comes down, I want you just to let it kind of sit in your head and then consolidate it into that space there. And just, you're storing it. You're not shoving it in there. You're not cramming stuff into a box or into a bag. You're just going to let it store in there, because what happens is it does this. It's just going to vibrate. And I do think that you are going to tune in psychically big time. Yeah, I think you're going to come back from this with a lot more insight, a lot more precognition. I think you're going to be and it's a huge responsibility, and it's a huge ask of the universe for us to have that, because now as humans, we have to filter through the information that we want to use, that we don't want to use, that we want to share, that we don't want to share. That will come in time, even though your job description is changing, even though you're getting a promotion. It's not really that you're getting a promotion as much as like they're giving you more responsibility, which again is like, oh, really, but I think this is going to be a good thing for you. And I think when we do these level ups, when we step up to another level of responsibility or another level of openness to the universe, it's a little uncomfortable. It's a learning period, just like any job. You would have to take some time to get used to the new processes, the TPS reports. You have to get used to all that stuff. So I think that's the beginning of it. Let go of being a little bit of being normal. Let go. I mean, you and we're oddballs. I know we're oddballs, and like saying that is like really a difficult thing to say. But you have to let go of being a little bit of a norm. And for me, it's so I had a weird experience yesterday. So my niece's bridal shower was on Saturday, and I couldn't go. We had a whole bunch of stuff going on with kids. But my mom told me, oh, they had a tarot card reader there. And I was kind of surprised. I was like, oh, really? And my mom was like, yeah, can you read palms? And I was like, well, yeah, I can do lots of stuff. And she goes, oh, you have to read your niece Ava's palm, one of my other nieces. And I was like, oh, Mom, it's my day off. I don't want to read. I just don't. I don't want to read. And, when I go to family events like that, I kind of shut everything off, because you don't want like all of that coming in, like when you're trying to, and it's my day off, like, and my mom even like brought Ava over and was like, here, read her palm. And I was like, oh God, Mom, like, I don't want to work. And Greg was like, yeah, her hourly rate is, I was like, oh. And my mom goes, really? I go, yeah. So, what you're going to get is more of the download, but the lead up, the adjustment period is knowing what to pass on and what not to pass on. So I have to mute myself just for 1 second.
So what? I'll just jump in. Oh, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. I just was presented with a small emergency, so I may have to cut this short. I'm sorry. But we got like 5-10 minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah, no problem.
So go ahead. You could. Yeah. Did you have a thought about what I said?
Yeah, I was just going to jump in, because what you're saying makes 100% sense. And what I want to say to the people that are watching as well, what I consider myself as. So, you've all seen, because there's been lots of people that have shown interest in this venture that we're doing, and the psychic news report that we're doing, and various other things that are going on in the background. People make up their mind what sort of person that you are. So when I come on, I'm kind of like one of these that wants to jump in and say, right, some of the things that have been said to me, I'm not that. Right. Be very, very clear on what I feel I represent. I am a spiritual servant, right? My bosses are clients. My overall bosses are the spiritual world. People get so hung up on this medium label where they're saying, the misleading people, or they're taking them down for right. Let me tell you from an ordinary guy's perspective, when I came out of that prison service and had the experiences that I spoke about many times before, I was told by a source that I didn't understand. And all I've done is like parrot fashioned everything that I've been given. I see myself, and this is not an egotistical thing, I see myself as the poster boy for the underdog, right? That I will go in, and I did a live thing last week that will go out in about a month. It's been, sorry, not live, it was recorded. And it was talking about grief and loss. And the thing is, when you've lost somebody, whether it's a relationship or whether it's somebody to the spirit world, then there is that grief period. Now, please understand this, because this is genuine, that things that are out of your control trigger something. Right, and all of this awakening and all of the things that Annabelle's so described is because of a passing. Right now, whereas normally I'd just go, right, well, it is, and I'm happy to be involved in it. I'm aware of the seriousness of all of this. Right, my dad's passing. I'm not even going to go down that route because I would sound heartless, but it's triggered something, and it's triggered an awakening. And how it was presented to me the other day was, do you know what I see you as? And I'm going, oh, great, here comes another label. She said, you're a crossing guide, that you stand there, an on-earth guide that helps people through their shit. Sorry, through their stuff. And you go
Monday, we're cursing.
Right. And you go into that moment. And basically what I am is I'm a lamplighter. I am not going to do anything for you. I keep saying to people about all of the work that I do, and I'm getting a bit on the soapbox here, so I'll shut up in a minute. But is that I'm there to help. That's all I've ever wanted to do, is to help people so that they avoid some of the circumstances that I've been through myself. So like we spoke about anxiety, mental health and things like that. That is my role. But to be told by a spirit form that you're an on-earth angel, it's very, very freaky to just an ordinary guy like me. So it's one of those that there's the wonder and the sense of awe about the potential power that they're stepping into. But imagine somebody giving you a brand new phone and going, right, this can do, all of the things that you've ever dreamed of, but then not giving you an instruction booklet. Yeah. And for the last 9 months since my dad passed away, that has been my life. Strange dreams, people drawing to me and asking my opinion, bringing in the energy, shows, getting up on stage, all things that I've dreamt about doing. And then, right, but what does it all mean? And we can soon get tangled up in what are we here for and what's our life about. But what I will continue to do, however this format takes place in the future, is say that I'm there for people because I get it at this very ordinary level. And as we step in and we start going into 5D and things like that, of which I understand very little, I'm going to be the one that when you guys come there and start to experience the experiences that I'm having now, will be the person that you can come to because I will get it. Anyway, I feel like I've got on my soapbox there a little bit.
And that's what brings me to the last card, because Rick, the thing that you need to remember is that you're going to have support, your kinship here. You're going to have support. You're going to have people that help you through this. So when you get into that vortex, you're not going to be there alone. We're going to be there with you. All of us are going to be there with you. We're going to be swirling around. Some of us are going to be more regulated than others, and you're going to be more regulated than others at certain times in it. So I think this is going to be an amazing experience, but it's going to feel like falling out of an airplane. So that's okay. You know, you're not going to hit the ground. Don't worry about that. It's going to be falling out of an airplane, but there is structure to it. Remember that the tornado is going all over the place, but there's structure to it. You know what direction you are going in. You may be tumbling in there, but you know where it's going to, you know, where you are oriented in it. You just don't know where it's going to wind up. Let it take you. Let it take you. Now, I'm going to explain what my emergency is. My son has exams today and he missed his bus. So I got to get him there so that he can get to the next class. So I'm so sorry. I'm gonna turn us off. Hang on, Rick, because I want to set up a meeting with you a little bit later. Everybody, we're not going to be here next week. We're going to take next week off. We'll be back in 2 weeks. And we'll have some really cool stuff for you. We're going to have a whole new curriculum. What I think Rick and I are going to do is post up a video on Friday with the calls to action, the how to, and then Monday we'll all get on here and we'll talk about how we worked on our liftoff through the whole weekend. So it's going to be a really cool new 6 weeks through the summer. We'll have a great time with it, and we're really going to work hard on getting you guys to just elevate a little bit more. So in the meantime, everybody stay well. Rick, wish Rick well. This is going to be awesome. And we will see you in 2 weeks. So watch the
Thanks,
replay
guys.
on this, guys. All right. We'll see you soon. Bye.